So Sam,
I know.
So that's going. Hang on, I'm about to go.
I was
Should
gonna.
be going here.
Are we going like?
Oh,
right
I'm
right
gonna
now?
stand up like an old man. Oh,
Ah,
oh I'm so old.
doctor says I need a backhand on me.
I got weight to lose. Oh boy. Okay. So let's check and make sure that we are live before we officially get this ball a rolling.
Swerts.
Yeah.
So how is reopening stuff going over there, Sam?
Oh, it's a fucking mess, man.
I can
It's
imagine.
absolutely ridiculous.
I
Because I don't know if you've seen any of the example pictures of what it looks like in the casinos now.
I've seen a few. Yeah.
Yeah, everybody's separated by plexiglass.
Oh wow.
Damn.
All right, turn the volume down, guys. We're gonna
Oh,
get an
we're
echo
live.
otherwise.
Okay.
We're good.
I'm trying to pick this man's brain over here, man.
All right, so let me pull up the live stream here so I can monitor the comments, because we just got one big window of Sam here ready to go
Mikey
for us.
said, hey, sorry, I couldn't call
Oh, and I
in
gotta turn the
as
volume
I'm at
down,
work.
too. Oh, Mikey Mnemonic's at work. Oh,
He's
okay.
He's over in the UK. and he
Sorry,
works
Mikey.
nights, so.
Hey, if you get a break while you're at work and you have Skype on your phone, don't hesitate to call in.
For
Yep.
reals.
Just message me and I'll tell you the Skype name to call in, or message me with your Skype name. But all right, let's get to this. So Sam, you're not going to see the exact same angle everyone else is. You're going to see the slightly lower quality cam. Sorry about that.
No problem.
But guys, we are here to welcome to the horror show.
Hi.
I'm Cecil Laird.
I'm Susie Von Slaughter.
I mean, Fuego here.
I'm Rolo Duell.
And I'm Sam Glass.
That's right. There we go.
Special
Sam
guest. Hell
is one of our longer running fans and one of our patrons as well, and that's what this live stream is. We
You
are
should
here
be like Sam.
to welcome any patron. It was kind of a last minute decision to do this. I kind of wanted to squeeze it in May, so I literally squeezed it in on the last day of May.
Way to
We'll
go.
do it again next month for the patrons, so more of them can join, but it's almost appropriate that Sam gets an hour to himself here, because Sam has been not only a fan, but he's a friend. He's been a contributor to the channel, sending numerous titles our way to check out.
Phantom of the Paradise.
Phantom of the Paradise soundtrack he sent us, and none of us had
that's
seen it, I don't think,
right.
before that. And then
Thank
they actually just recorded their review of Rondo.
Wow.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, we just got done with
Cool.
that. Fuego and I just got done with that earlier.
Yep. So,
And you're still sane.
Yeah. For the
Yeah.
most part.
they couldn't tell if the movie was trolling them or not the whole time.
That was the vibe that I got. I mean, because there were certain scenes in it where I'm like, I know they're trying to goof on me a little bit in certain scenes in
Trying
particular.
to goop on you?
Well, goof on me.
Oh,
like,
goof.
yeah,
I thought you
goof.
said goop.
No, I thought there was some goop. There was
some goop on you, yeah.
Well, that actually does happen too in one particular
Yeah, it
with
does.
the girl who
It
looked
does.
none of 12, and I was like, oh man, I don't know about this, but yeah.
But then he also sent us another actual winner, like big winner. It's surprising because it's such a disturbing movie, but so enjoyable for what it is. Like,
Yeah.
if you can handle disturbing material, The Corpse of Anna Fritz is one that's definitely worth visiting, because man, that was definitely a trip.
Well, the writing was so strong and not what I expected it to be. You know, I was expecting kind of autopsy of Jane Doe sort of situation, and it veered in a completely different direction, and great performances. I mean, I love foreign takes on horror, and just the way that they look at it through a different lens, and it was disturbing, but it was compelling. You know, it really was.
So, Sam, what before we jump into everything, or your questions, if you have any for us, or
We have questions for you, too,
audience
obviously.
questions, yeah. I wanted to ask you a little bit, exactly. So, for any guest that we have on the channel, we do always start with their horror history. So, being a fan of the horror show and a friend to us as well, what got you started along the horror path? When was it? How old were you? What was your first experience? And how did that start to evolve over time?
As far back as I can remember, I was 8 years old. My father's in the service, so we were stationed in the Philippines back in 1968.
You had it right the first time. It's okay.
When you're stationed overseas like that, you have to pretty much settle for whatever they have available broadcast-wise. And there were only like 3 stations, and one was the Armed Forces Radio and television station. One was called ABS-CBN, that was the Philippines' largest network, and another was called IBC, and that was co-run by, I guess, a Philippine owner and a British owner. So we get stuff like Stingray and the Avengers and all that cool stuff from over in England, but we also get other things. And the Filipinos love old American movies, especially old horror films.
Huh.
So one of the first things I saw was Vincent Price and House of Usher. And they would play these things throughout the week, like you get to see it Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and then, twice on Friday and 4 times on Saturday, however the hell they ran that. But I got to see a lot of old stuff, and that's why I'm so in love with things, I would say, between 1955 and 1960 on up. But that was my first exposure. And I was already reading Edgar Allan Poe when I was 8 years old. Freak. Yeah, that's me.
Intellectual.
I wasn't far off myself, so.
But yeah, reading that plus Vincent Price and you can imagine.
Nice.
So it just went from there.
Snowball
Nice.
downhill. Oh, yeah.
So from there, when you had the chance to start picking out your horror, where did you start to lead yourself?
Oh, dear God.
We're on the internet, so do whatever you want here.
There were no limits whatsoever between what the Filipinos liked and what they were showing, and between what the base theater was showing. I ran the gamut of everything I could get into when they weren't checking the ID cards, that is.
Oh.
Because there were certain things that I couldn't get access to until much later on. So I saw, you name anything between 1968 and present day, and I think I pretty much saw all of that stuff.
Nice. Okay. So you've got a deep breadth of knowledge then.
Oh, yeah.
Awesome. Yeah, well,
so-
obviously, because you introduced us to 3 different things, 3 almost completely different styles of horror, and it's pretty awesome. So
Yeah, so was it like primarily like British and American stuff, or did they delve into like Fulci and Argento and Italian horror and stuff from different areas of the world, or?
Well, of course, British. Hey.
Oh, man. The Armed Forces Station showed a lot of old stuff, too. Like, I have a page called The Great Midnight Sneak on Facebook. And basically what the concept is, it's when you sneak into the TV room when you're like, too young to be watching that kind of shit.
I was doing that with
But
Fright Night when I was a kid in the 80s, yeah.
But you make sure your parents don't hear you, so you sneak in, turn the TV set on, turn the volume up just enough so you can hear what's going on, and watch stuff like Bava's Blood and Black Lace, which I was probably way too young to see, and the Crystal Plumage and things like that were available on that network.
Deep dives, man.
just really quick, guys, since we didn't shout them out really at the beginning, we Mikey Mnemonic obviously is here. We also have Ben Grimm in the chat. Lost Boy Bayous sent us a super chat there as well. Thank you very much for that. Christina Dover is here. Corey Novak was in the chat.
Hey, Corey.
So hello to one and all, and let's continue on now. So as far as how your tastes evolved, Sam, let's just go ahead and do my rapid fire bit where I ask you about each subgenre of horror, and you give me a couple sentences about it. How's that?
Shoot.
All right. So I hope you don't mind that this turned into like kind of a brief interview of
This
you.
is a cross-examination.
Ha-ha! Joke's on you!
Your Honor.
All right, sweet. Well, we got to spotlight you. You deserve it. You deserve it. So.
I mean, even though we converse on social media and stuff, I still don't feel like I have the full like understanding of all of your tastes and interests in the scarific regard. So that's a good good thing to pursue. So.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, damn it. I really regretted not being able to meet you that time that you were here in Vegas.
I know, it was brief, and I mean, trying to the schedules correlating and stuff. It's always tough. So
Yeah, because had I known what I know now about what came to happen later, I would have said, okay, let's try to make that meeting with Fuego, because you never know what happens in the future.
this is true.
Yeah, indeed. Thank God, we're all still here, able to converse today. So,
well, this was a few years ago, actually.
Yeah,
so, yeah. This
yeah.
was
No, I
this
know,
was a few years ago when I was over there.
I know, but he's saying he didn't know what was coming, and thank God we're
the fact
still
that we're all
around to talk about it.
Isolation aspect
And now, like, I believe there's a pretty easy through fare to Vegas, so we really should cruise up there sometime, if only just to get a lay of the horror scene out there, and maybe Sam could be a bit of a guide for us.
Well, I mean,
I would love it if you all could make it to, and I'm not sure what's going to happen now.
Right.
The next Sin City Horror Fest.
Yeah, you've mentioned it.
So dig that.
Okay. All right. Well, we could look into that, because that's not a hard travel. And I love Vegas. I haven't been there in a while.
Vegas, baby, Vegas.
I've never been.
And I don't know if you know
I've never
Drew
been to Vegas.
Marvick.
The name sounds familiar. Yeah.
Drew is our version of you, Cecil, basically.
Okay, fair enough.
He's a horror lover. He makes films, and he's also the chief Hefe of Sin City Horror Fest.
Oh, okay, cool.
In fact, you may have seen the first film he turned out, Pool Party Massacre.
Oh, yeah. He actually sent that to us. I don't know if we actually got a
Party
chance to watch
Massacre?
it. No, Pool Party Massacre.
Pool Party Massacre.
Yeah, no, I've got it over there on my shelf.
Yeah.
I don't know if we ever got around to actually checking that one out. I don't think we
They
did.
either sent us a copy or gave us a copy at Mad Monster.
No, he brought me one.
Okay.
He actually brought me one at Mad Monster, yeah.
Okay,
I
yeah.
think.
And Mad Monster, which just got postponed.
Someone
We're not
brought
sure
me
if it's going to
October.
happen in October or not. It's the world has been so weird lately. We're just rolling with the punches as best we can. So.
Well, with Pool Party Massacre, I will quote the tagline for the poster of Pieces. It's exactly what you think it is.
Yeah. All right. Pieces is another one that I have over in my stack to watch, but I'm just waiting for it to be recommended or requested, because I have such a big stack. Luckily, I've now gotten through one of the ones was let's see which one was over there that I finally got to watch. But the next one up is Motel Hell, that's been over there for a while.
Well, we watched Society recently. We watched. I mean, there's still.
I do want to watch Invitation, by the way, Sam, because that's been in my Netflix queue since it came out.
Wait, The Invitation.
The Invitation. He requested it, but it didn't win for the poll. So
that movie is damn good. Dude.
Yeah, I need to. Maybe we'll do that anyway, Sam, because it turns out we did Harpoon anyway as well. So, or we watched it, so we'll be reviewing Harpoon. So maybe we'll go ahead and review that as well.
That's the director. What is the man? Sam, maybe you know offhand. She is directing. Is it? Oh,
Karen Kusama.
Yes, and she's directing a big property coming up, and I'm trying to remember what it is. It's just eluding me for whatever reason. I guess if I had a phone in my hand like these two, I could probably check it out with quickness.
The Del Toro? Wait, no, I'm thinking of someone else.
No. It's oh boy, God.
Thank you to Raiders AK and the Ripper.
Yes, indeed. Hey, Ripper. What's up, Raiders?
Yeah, there was just a prominent announcement that she is doing like a larger remake or property. God damn it.
There's a question for Sam.
Okay, yes, question
Yes,
for Sam.
yes, there is indeed. What was the first scene in a horror movie that stayed with you throughout your childhood/teens?
Oh, man. First scene.
Putting you on the
Very
spot.
First scene. Got it.
Okay.
Actually, it's not. It is a scene, but it's not a scene. The last 5 minutes of House of Usher.
Okay.
Because, I mean, you're sitting on the edge of your seat like this going, oh my God, what is about to happen? I mean, Corman was really good at doing that.
I feel like I need to set aside time
was it
for
just
the House
like
of Usher.
blowing your mind as you're watching it?
So many years,
Absolutely,
I don't
because
remember
it's
that.
like
I haven't seen that one.
It's like they just took the pages of the post story and just slapped them around the screen and said, we can do this better, and they did.
Man, I feel like we got to add House of Usher to our list now, too.
Well, I mean,
I'm down to revisit that one.
Yeah, well, I've read the story, obviously.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, there were certain post stories. I mean, I still remember being in 7th grade and reciting The Raven, like it was one of my readings in school. I was at a Christian school, mind you, and Miss Usselman was a little upset with me. She thought it was kind of, but...
It's
whatever.
history, you bitch.
Of course he was a choir boy.
No, but from an earlier discussion, Cecil, you were right about one thing, though. the more old-timey films probably won't play well with the younger set now, because they're so, I don't want to say attention deficit disorder addled, but it's like, boom, 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 give me the horror and give it to me now.
Yeah.
And that is so slow burn. And Vincent Price's
I know exactly what that's like.
His method of acting. Everything is just like it's detail after detail after detail, and they're going to be sitting there going, "Oh my God, when do we get to the blood and the guts?
Yeah.
For God's sake, speed it up, hurry it up."
Yeah, and I'm remembering us talking about this now. Yeah, it was one of the live streams, and I think we were just going back and forth saying that kids are so desensitized at this particular point that they need that shock and awe shit, and it's, it takes a certain essence of maturity to appreciate the subtlety, I think. So
yeah, so if you don't get someone who's into literate horror, they're going to look at this and go, "Man, bring on Slither," bring on
It's the TikTok
I have a bit of
generation,
that
for
when we're
God's
watching
sake. It's
the
horrible.
Universal Monsters ones when we're going through it.
Yeah.
I thought you'd like those more than you did.
I feel almost that's how we are too, because we've seen so much.
Yeah, that's the thing.
That,
I've seen everything that all of these things influenced.
Yeah.
So I get the importance and I respect them for that. But they're not going to affect me the way they affected all of you guys that watched them when you were young.
Well, we have that very early, one of the latest Patreon requests was that Golem black and white.
Yeah, from
silent,
1920 or
it's
something.
Silent film. I started looking that up last
Yeah, it's
night.
a
Well,
German
no, but
film,
even
right?
when I heard you, when we did, or when you guys did the review of The Village, and I heard you speaking, you said that, now that you've rewatched it again,
Knowing the
later on-
twists, I liked it way more.
he liked it way more. And I think as we're exposed to much more, I think we have a better kind of palette for things. But then at the same time, it is kind of, because we've seen everything, it kind of takes a lot to get a good reaction out of us. Good or bad,
There he goes. All right.
Yeah, well,
bit better.
Yeah, a little light.
show us your
shed a little
beautiful
light on the
face.
subject.
Yes.
There you go.
Well, speaking of price, though, there's some people who, I Am Legend is their only familiarity with that Matheson story, and there was the Charlton Heston version, Omega Man, that I loved the hell out of, and then you had, The Last Man on Earth, and the 50s, I want to say, Samuel, was when he did that one. So, yeah, I don't know, just seeing the progression of horror and how a story is retold over time is really, really interesting and gives some context, I think, but...
Hello to Anibal Riveros and Dale.
Yeah.
Dale Strunk is here. Did I read that right? I've never actually. Yes, Strunk. Okay.
Yep.
And let's see here. Yep. Ben Grimm's still hanging around. Okay. The Ripper. Giallo's hit or miss. Sam, what do you think? Giallo films.
I'm just starting to dive a little bit deeper into those because I was an early, I guess you can call me an Argento adapter. I was just fucking crazy for Suspiria and Inferno and Tenebrae, which I wasn't able to see when it came out. I wasn't old enough. Cat of Nine Tails I snuck into.
Okay.
So I got a chance to see that. But the other directors I didn't start getting into until much, much later on. I'm only now starting to hear about a lot of the other artistes, so to speak, that were Giallo masters. Like him, I didn't know Bava was Giallo for the longest time. But he was kind of the father that started the whole thing with Black Sabbath and Kill Baby Kill and Hatchet for the Honeymoon.
So here's the thing. I have a very little experience. I just have vague echoes in my brain. So if you said Bava, first name,
Mario.
Barrio. Okay, I was like, I didn't remember. Like, I don't know enough about Giallo by any stretch, so I couldn't even formulate an opinion beyond. I didn't even see the original Suspiria, so I really don't know. Zombie, right? Is Zombie considered Giallo?
Well, Zombie is Fulci. I don't know if that's considered Giallo, because Giallo is more of like a certain subgenre of Italian horror.
Okay,
It's
yeah.
like
See, I just don't know enough
sexual
about it.
slasher.
That's why I don't talk about it, because I don't know about it. So
Yeah, something.
Smart man.
yeah,
Well,
I know
don't
my
if you-
shortcomings.
I don't know if you know Troy Howarth. Is that a name that's familiar?
No.
Yeah, it doesn't resound.
He's a good buddy on Facebook, and he writes these books. And he's got 2 volumes of a series out called So Deadly, So Perverse. If you are not into Giallo at all, grab those 2 volumes, because they're like an encyclopedia of everything you want to know about. In fact, I've got volume 1 myself, and I'm going to start consulting that to watch more Giallo films.
Okay, Sam, I have a question for you. So what is your favorite genre or maybe subgenre.
Yeah,
of,
we didn't really hit the subgenres yet. We got distracted. So
right, a subgenre of horror movies, or like if you find it, you watch a trailer for a movie and there's a certain context that like really resonates with you, that you're like, I'm going to see this like no matter what.
Well, Susie, thank you for asking. I'd love to answer that. My favorite is revenge.
I didn't get a thank you. I didn't get a sweet thank you, by the way, when I asked my questions.
It's because
just saying. I'm just kidding. Go ahead, Sam. Sorry.
He's
Thank
fine.
you, Cecil.
See, now it doesn't.
I know it's always the
Cecil's
obligatory thank you, Cecil. No, it's okay. Sorry, Sam. I'm just fucking around. Go ahead. Continue.
But revenge, especially involving, and I don't want to say it because I know that you can't say that word on the channel, so the R word. Our revenge. You know, the R word.
Okay,
Oh.
so I spit on her grave.
Yeah.
Last house on the left.
But it's always that thing where the villains seem to get away with it at first, and they
Right.
do all this heinous shit, and then it's like, no, motherfucker, guess what? You got something planned for you.
Nice.
spit on your
Okay,
grave
all right,
and, like-
all right.
Okay.
So Anibal says new generations are really dependent on the scare factor every 5 minutes, when the best horror films, in my opinion, are the slow burn, character development, and psychological horror.
I think that's true though. Everyone's so like, especially
Everyone,
millennials.
people are liking you, Sam. They say love him.
Yeah.
So they say Giallo is crime-driven mystery slasher, says Mikey Mnemonic.
So there you
There's a
go.
lot of truth to that until you start getting into maybe a little bit of supernatural aspects, and some like phenomena is fucking crazy. That is insane because it's crime driven, but there's also that aspect of psychic phenomena that it has. It gives that little extra push.
Was Maniac Italian?
It wasn't Italian. It was an American movie, but
that
there's
was American.
people who have
Was
said
it American?
Oh,
Yeah,
I must have seen
but they've
a
said
foreign
that
trailer
is
for
one
it.
that is like inspired by Giallo, because there's a
Maniac.
lot of American filmmaking in the early '80s that was inspired by that movie.
Mikey Mnemonic says
Italian
Savage
horror.
Streets. I'm guessing that's probably an
okay.
example.
Ben Grimm asks, "What is your favorite new horror movie, Sam?"
Like, how new are we talking though?
How new are
Past
I
couple
don't,
years.
Just new
Past
horror
couple of years.
horror movie. He didn't.
I wouldn't say it was my favorite, but Bliss was really good.
Bliss was
was
good.
really good.
I was
It was
not
visually
expecting
striking for sure.
I
yeah.
liked Bliss.
That. Yeah,
Yeah, that was good.
because there were parts where it's like, where the hell are we going with this?
I found her unfortunately unlikable, but I don't think you were supposed to like her that much.
You
know?
didn't like
No.
it?
She was kind of scuzzy.
No,
she was
I thought
kinda
you
scuzzy,
would
man.
like it.
No, I loved that movie.
Okay, yeah,
thought it
I
was
knew
great,
that.
But I just like she portrayed the character with adequate scuzziness. Like she wasn't particularly likable. Some of the choices she made and her laziness. She was creative and stuff, but I mean, and that doesn't slight the movie. That's
Okay.
just where, especially from a trippy standpoint, that movie was like, I felt like I was on drugs, even though I don't really
Especially
take
that
drugs.
opening
Like,
Okay,
I mean,
so Ben actually specified. He said within the last decade.
oh,
Okay.
Within the last decade.
Yes.
Okay.
That's a little broader.
Best movie in the last decade is probably Get Out.
Get
Oh,
Out.
okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I really like that one too.
Yeah, that is quality.
Yeah, talking about more trippiness too, like some like those deep dive into the couch scene or sofa scenes or whatever's were just insanely arresting.
Mikey Mnemonic clarifies Savage Streets is a revenge movie starring Linda Blair and Linnea Quigley. Got it.
Okay.
Christopher Muller is here.
Quickly is our little dancing
Yeah, it has
lady
mystery,
from Return of the
mystery
Living
TV
Dead.
and a lot of slashing gore for you. Lil Beardy is here, and he asks a question that we can all address. What's the most recent film that had a plot twist you didn't see coming at all? For me, it was the Netflix film Eli. I loved that film and the twist. I feel like there's got to be one or two that I've experienced recently.
We've
that
seen so many. We watched so many.
Can't think about it.
I can't. I'd have to think about
We
it for a
watched so
minute. Are
much.
there? Does any come to anyone?
Like a twist.
Sam, do you have anything with a twist that pops to mind?
The best twist I've seen on anything I've caught up on was definitely The Invitation. Because you
That
did
was-
not see that coming.
Yes.
I haven't seen it yet, so
Yeah, no.
see,
Wait,
he
that's
wants
the
us
thing
to review it, but I haven't seen
No,
it
it's
yet,
such
so
a
we
dude,
gotta
that's a-
add
Oh
it
no
to
no
the
no
list.
no!
terrific movie.
No, that's not the
Hey
one.
Maurice, what's
I
up?
kind of felt like I saw the twist coming, but it's a very satisfying twist. Yeah.
And it's one of those long-lasting ones with a lot of repercussions because
Now I don't know if we're talking about the same movie.
you see the end of the movie, but then a week later you're like, oh my God, that's really what that meant.
Yeah.
Shit. And just it just hits you a little bit more each time you think about it.
Yeah,
That's
just
cool.
to clarify, the movie that we're talking about is where there's a dinner date with this guy, long hair. They go and there's kind of okay, so she hasn't even seen it. It's the guy from
Okay.
Upgrade. It's the guy from Upgrade. He is terrific in it.
No, the
Sounds
Perfection.
familiar.
Oh, that
the
was good.
Perfection is completely different.
That had a
but-
good twist. Yeah, no,
Yeah,
that
that
was a good
one.
example of a recent
Oh.
twist.
Oh, another one with a great twist on The Gift from 2015.
Oh,
I don't think
okay.
Which
I
one
don't
was
think I watched
that?
that one.
That was the one that was directed by okay.
See,
so
that's
you had
how we are,
you
like,
had
which
Jason
one is
Bateman,
that?
and then you had
Oh.
oh goodness,
The girl and the zombie, and like she's a right.
no.
Well, there's two gifts. One was directed by Sam
Sam
Raimi.
Raimi, yeah.
And
Oh.
that was the all-star one, Kate Blanchett.
That was Keanu Reeves, wasn't it?
Reeves.
Yeah, I
Kate
love
Yeah.
that one.
showing off her
And that was a
goodies
good
in it.
one.
Yeah.
The one I'm talking about is Joel Edgerton.
Joel Edgerton,
and,
that's the name. And he also directed it, right?
Jason
Jason
Bateman.
Bateman,
Yeah, he also wrote and directed it.
Yeah, where he was a kid that he used to pick on back in high school, and he comes
Yes.
back. That's a terrific movie. Yeah,
And-
really good thriller. It's not horror. It's a solid thriller. Very engaging.
But absolute mindfuck of an ending where you're like, did he really just do that?
Mhm.
Wow.
Yes.
Okay.
No,
We're not
Mikey,
gonna-
we're talking about the invitation from like 2015.
So the Ripper, thank you so much again.
wish I had-
Did you
Oh,
see
did
Fight
you-
for
Thanks,
Your
Dale.
Life?
Take care.
Did you see Fight for Your Life in theaters, 1970s?
Fight for your life.
Yeah, I keep saying that.
It may have been under another title.
Hmm.
So I don't recognize
The
That's stuff
Ripper,
that-
please clarify.
Yeah, certain things get rebranded depending on
Yeah.
what region they're put out in. They're
Yeah.
retitled sometimes. So
Hi, Chris.
twist for me, honestly. I just watched
Hardy
it.
Nugget 96.
I just watched it last night because Cecil and I have it. It's another Patreon review. It's a film called was it Scare
Campaign.
Scare Campaign? Yeah, it's an Australian film from the same guys that did 100 Bloody Acres, and it's about it's like basically
It was
a
good.
candid
That was
camera,
good.
but a horror version of it, where they're going around trying to scare people, and it's like, what happens if we push somebody too far and there is violent repercussion? Pulls a gun or
Yeah.
stabs the person that's trying to scare them or whatever. There's a couple twists in that movie. One I expected, the other one I didn't, and it's a satisfying film. It's
Just like Grave Encounters was
Yeah.
what if a ghost hunter show went wrong? This is basically what if that scare show that what's her name from 90210 hosted for a little while.
Tori Spelling,
No, the other one.
Shannon Doherty.
Shannon Doherty. Yeah, what was that called?
Oh,
Scare
yeah.
Tactics.
Scare-
It's like if Scare Tactics went wrong
I don't
and
care
like
too much about
the
that
person that they were scaring went a little nuts.
Yeah.
So that was actually really good. Yeah.
Yeah,
so.
I dug that movie. I had some
Maurice-
fun twists.
Maurice
Unexpected.
says Saw is still my favorite twist.
Oh, that's a good twist. That's
And
not from the
then
last decade though. But
Little
still.
Beardy, have you
I
seen
guess that was two
the
questions.
spin-off of VHS called Siren? It's on Netflix.
Yes,
I
we reviewed
Yeah,
it
I've
on the
seen it.
channel.
Awesome.
Yeah, it's good.
Absolutely
I
awesome.
love all the
That was the
VHS
best segment from
movies.
that first VHS.
Were
Like,
they-
I
Yep.
like you, and you're just like, woo.
And the best part was Siren got the exact same actress
Mhm.
and put her back in that role again, which is
Yeah,
really what makes the whole movie.
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Those guys also did Southbound, and it's some of the Bloody Disgusting
Yes.
guys assisted with them too. Southbound is great, actually. That's a really good anthology horror. I dug the hell out of that.
Ben Grimm asks, any favorite Filipino horror movies we may not know about, or any genre that was displayed over there for you?
Any that you won't laugh at. I'm not so sure. Pam Grier did a lot of those Filipino-based movies too.
Oh, okay.
There's one called The Alligator People.
Dang.
Good for popcorn, beer, and just having yourself a ball. But as far as like serious horror goes, not really.
Okay. Fair enough. Fair enough.
Okay.
Just crank them out. All right.
So okay, let's circle back then, since I never actually did the lightning round with you. So let's do the lightning round. So first subgenre, what are your thoughts on supernatural, straight up ghost stories and stuff?
Straight up ghost stories, I have seen some really good ones. The best one recently is called Ghost Stories. I don't know if you're familiar with this. It's British.
Yeah.
It's based on a West End play that was like a smash hit for 1 trillion years, it sounds like. And it's a series of stories. It's kind of like an anthology. and it goes in the direction at the end that you are never expecting.
Yeah, Martin Freeman, right?
Martin Freeman's in it, definitely.
Yep.
Yeah, I think we did a trailer reaction for
We
it
did.
at
I
one
did
point.
watch
Yeah,
it.
yeah.
It's on my list of movies that I watched in 2018 that no one else watched, so I
Yeah.
just never reviewed. But I would need to revisit it at this point. I remember that being okay. Okay, so
Yeah.
Supernatural, you don't mind? Like, does that include the paranormal activities and all that kind of stuff?
Paranormal Activity didn't really do it for me. After
I
the
wish
first one,
Sam would have.
okay, been there, done that. Grave Encounters I loved,
Okay.
because I didn't expect to be as good as it was. Hell House LLC is another series.
I
that
still
was
haven't seen that.
Yeah,
yet.
there's a
shockingly.
sequel too. Yeah.
It's got three. It
good.
took 3 movies.
Oh, they have 3 now.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a little bit of a diminishing returns factor as you watch the series,
In true horror
but
movie fashion.
it still stays pretty entertaining though.
Yeah,
all
I've
of
been wanting to give that first one a try. That's what I keep hearing.
Well, can I follow up while you guys look then? What's
Oh, yeah.
what's some of your favorite anthologies, Sam? As far as, because I love that sort of format where it's like, quick little horror bites, and just like with books, sometimes there's lesser entries and stuff. But what are some of the stronger horror anthologies? Some of your favorites?
Kind of photo finish for me is Trick or Treat.
Ah.
It's like at the top of the list.
So
and
good.
then right directly into that is Southbound. Southbound was fucking awesome.
See, I just
Yeah.
wasn't as impressed with Southbound as
I
everyone
wasn't
else
Dug
is.
either.
it, man.
I'll take Tales of Halloween over Southbound any day of the week.
Have you seen Tales of Halloween, Sam?
Yeah,
Yeah.
that was pretty good.
It was hit and miss with some of the segments, though.
Christmas Horror Story.
Yeah, that's even
Yeah,
better.
that's a good
Agreed.
one,
I
too.
think that's even stronger.
Was that the one with Shatner? where
Yeah,
he
yeah,
was-
the wraparound. The shat
Because
around.
Because I
Oh my
think
God.
what really distinguishes a good or a great anthology is the wraparound.
Yeah.
Because if you have a weak ass wraparound, then it's not really going to feel like it's
Yeah.
worth watching.
Agreed.
Yeah.
And the first
Sorry.
VHS, the wraparound story, did not really thrill me at all. But the stories within that wraparound were really good.
Yeah.
In fact, VHS 2 was probably better at doing that. 3, I was kind of like,
3 was.
guys,
Three
They
was-
lost their way, yeah.
where are you going? with
Yeah.
this?
Yeah. And that's one thing where I like the complexity of connectivity, and as much as I like Vault of Horror and Tales from the Crypt from the 70s, the fact that it was just kind of a boring jump back to being with the victims and you have your individual segments, I think those are really solid British horror for their day. But when you put more thought into having stories intertwine and weave together and stuff, that's why I like Southbound so much, is each story bleeding into the next story in a lot of ways. And the segment with the punk rocker chicks and the weird family that they're with, and then also the guy out on the highway like in the middle of nowhere, like those are 2 of the strongest in there. Those are awesome.
Yeah, and that's the thing about anthologies; they're so hit and miss because, especially when you have like 5 or 6 different directors, or in the case of ABC's of Death, like 20,000
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm watching how many segments here? 30.
Yeah.
Yeah. Back to the lightning round. I'll try and keep it more of a lightning round this time. So, okay, we handled Supernatural. What about demonic? Possession and whatnot.
Demonic. Everybody always says The Exorcist. That's the first thing that comes up. It's like that's the pinnacle. But there was one demonic one I think I liked better than The Exorcist. I cannot think of it right now.
Okay.
Is it the exorcism of Emily Rose? Because you'll be right.
That was a good. That was a good one.
Conjuring
that.
is technically also demonic.
Yeah.
And so is Wreck.
Wreck was yeah. You're right.
If
You're
you
right.
keep watching the entire
You're right.
series.
It was a religious. It was. That's one of the coolest things. It was a religious disease.
Maurice
it was
says Evil
demonism
Dead.
essentially.
Maurice said Evil Dead.
What about it?
What about
For
Evil
the
Dead?
demon thing?
Which Evil
Demon?
Dead?
Yeah.
Oh, for demonic?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
Yeah, I guess it is.
Okay, so what about then?
Vampires.
Yeah, vampires and werewolves.
Vampires, you have to stick with the unholy 3. Lost Boys, Fright Night, Near Dark. Done.
Near Dark, man.
Those
Boom.
are like
Yeah,
the
Bigelow
classics.
directed
No
the
Dust
hell
Till
out of Near
Dawn,
Dark.
huh?
Dusk Till Dawn,
Oh.
That's my personal favorite for schlock.
especially for Salma Hayek.
Yes,
That
sir.
just stops the entire movie. You're like,
No hot cha cha for me.
oh, what?
You see, that's
Although,
the-
I contend, especially now with the broadening of the property by the 2 seasons of the series, I contend that What We Do in the Shadows has to be in the top 10
Yes!
vampire movies.
Yep, true.
Yes.
Absolutely true. Werewolves, the best DIY or independent werewolf movie I've ever seen is Late Phases. I love
Oh,
that
that's
movie.
so good.
Late Phases.
I'll
was a
still take
great
Bad
movie.
Moon over
Haven't
Late
seen it,
Phases,
yeah.
but they're both great.
Lost
Yeah.
Boys, Silver
I like
Silver
Bad Moon a
Bullet.
lot too,
Oh,
but
yes.
Late Phases,
Werewolf
because it's
movies.
Nick Amici, the same guy that did Stakeland.
Yep.
That makes sense.
Ah.
And that performance is just incredible.
Yeah.
Is it the
I
same
like
actor, too?
Yep.
Yeah,
From
it is the
Stakeland,
same.
yeah.
That makes sense. I never put that together. That's funny.
See,
But
Stakeland,
as-
those were great
But
movies.
as far as like major werewolf lore and like the touchstones of werewolf movies, I'm kind of torn between American Werewolf in London and The Howling.
Those are the two to be torn
Yeah.
between if you're really torn between
yeah,
two.
those
so.
are the best werewolf movies
Yeah.
made.
I don't know. I think Jason
what
Bateman
about
in
Ginger
Teen Wolf
Snaps?
2 is pretty underrated, man. I gotta say.
Ginger Snaps.
Ginger Snaps is
Ginger
up there.
Snaps is an amazing trilogy.
That's a good point, Susie. Ginger Snaps was
Thank
fucking
you.
awesome.
And that was a low-budget Canadian film, too.
And they made, what, 3 of them?
Yeah.
I just imagine Sam's hand coming out of the TV. That's a good point, Susie.
Fuck you
Oh,
and the
and
horse
while
you rode
we're
in
at
on.
it, let's not forget Dog Soldiers.
Yes.
Dog Soldiers is
Yeah,
quality
Neil
again.
Marshall.
Up there
Neil
with
Marshall.
Bad
Sci-fi
Moon.
classic.
Yeah, and that was Neil
Yeah.
Marshall before he did the Spelunker girls.
Descent.
The Descent, yeah.
Okay, speaking of Descent, creature movies.
Oh my God. You have to go over the entire list.
No.
Yeah,
Just
I
I just want your
it's tough to
general
narrow
thoughts
down.
about each of these subgenres. Do you like them? Do you avoid them?
No, I love creature movies. I'm on the same page with you about that. I love a great creature movie, especially if the effects are all practical. No CG,
Yes.
or if you can do a good mix between the two.
Mhm.
So in that spirit, Slither.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a lot of CG, but yeah.
That's like the pinnacle. And I just sent you another one that's not quite on the same level as Slither, but it's still awesome. It's called Splinter.
Yeah,
Splinter
I'm
is
excited about
terrific,
that
man.
one.
Yeah, that's one that I watched many years ago, and then I revisited, and I was just like, it's so goopy. Just what, yeah, and without spoiling stuff. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
terrific. And its gruesomeness.
Yeah, excited about it. But
After watching
there's
Society,
a
I don't
lot
know,
by
yeah,
way
I
of
just don't like
good,
the word
unique
that keeps
creature
coming
stuff.
around.
No,
out
there's
here
one.
now.
Would you define Daniel isn't real as a creature?
No.
No.
That's
No?
like psychological horror, kind of schizophrenic. Have you seen Daniel Isn't Real?
But
That's on my list because I saw
Watch
Adam Egypt Mortimer's other one, Some Kind of Hate.
Mhm.
Which Susie, did you see that one? You may like it better than I did because of the aspect of the scenario of the story they're telling. It has to do with bullying.
Hmm.
It has to do with kids out at a remote halfway house camp, whatever you want to call it.
I'm gonna
And
look
it's
this up right now.
Kind of a spiritual retreat place, so to speak.
Okay.
And some of the really heinous shit that takes place at that
Okay.
location.
I will watch this.
Naming
So
it
it's
after
kind of Friday the
Misfits song.
13th
Uh
with just a little sprinkle of the craft in there.
Okay, I got you, boo.
Hardy Nuggets said his favorite twist was Bill Paxton's frailty. Had a great
Oh,
twist.
fuck.
Yeah, Frailty's terrific. We did it as a
Frailty.
Patreon review recently, didn't we?
Yeah, we did. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
He
That's
directed
the one
that
where
too,
you like,
right?
you see the ending and go, I'm rewinding this fucker because I need to see this again.
Yeah.
What did I miss watching this whole movie?
Yeah. Yeah, I love movies like that. They don't happen that often anymore, but
Well,
they're
yeah,
great.
especially when they put like the previous 90 minutes or whatever in a different context, and
Yeah.
that's rewatchability. You have to watch it.
I really have to think about to see which movies were the best at doing that, but again, the most recent example, and it wasn't all the way at the end, but the first half you watch, and then the second half reframes the entire first half in one cut of the dead.
oh yeah,
Mm.
yeah.
Yeah,
Did you
Love-
like that one, Sam?
love that.
It was so fun. Oh yes.
Sam, send me a message with some kind of hate. Just put it in it so I don't forget because I have the worst memory on the planet. But just
Gotcha.
send me a message.
Mikey Mnemonic says Where is awesome. I've never seen that. W-E-R.
Where was a good.
I heard
movie.
Where and I
Where
heard
was good.
Howl
Yeah.
are both
Howl was
worthwhile
another
werewolf
great one.
movies.
Yeah.
Yeah. I've never seen either of those.
Dude, you
Wasn't-
need to.
Yeah?
Like, honestly, with Howl, I I definitely enjoyed the practical effects that they did for the werewolves. But
that was the one on the train,
yes,
right?
it was.
That just came out recently.
The British one, yeah.
No,
I haven't watched Howl was definitely a good movie.
It's in my Shudder cache.
And Where too, and honestly, even Where they were a little bit more on the actual like werewolf kind of mythology a little bit on it. But they weren't too heavily on the actual makeup of them.
Wasn't Wolfen another one that people
Wolfen was
point out?
technically Wolfen wasn't. I don't consider that actually a werewolf movie because they were considered more of the spirits of the wolves.
Oh.
Another cover that stuck with me that I never saw was In the Company of Wolves.
In the Company of Wolves was another good one. That was basically a fairy tale within like a dream within a fairy tale.
Weird. Okay.
Like, it was pretty cool.
Oh, right here, Tony T, The Company of Wolves. That's funny. Let's see. Howl and Where were great. He says Robert.
Yeah, that was me.
Let's see.
How did y'all like the movie Tusk?
Yeah,
Tusk
we
is
actually
cool.
have a review up on our Patreon
Ooh,
of Tusk.
Tusk.
So that's a
You never go
recent
full
Kevin
Tusk,
Smith
man.
movie where he
full
goes
Tusk.
full walrus, and he changes.
I fucking love Justin Long.
Justin Long. I was
Amazing.
just spacing his name.
Oh my god.
What the hell is it with Justin and loving these roles where he gets like folded, spindled, and mutilated every single time?
He does it
Or
so
he has
well.
the back of his head and eyes taken out.
Yeah.
Oh god.
I love Justin Long.
Yeah.
So yeah, Bring Me to Hell.
By the way,
was
that
so
argument is definitively settled at this point, whether
What?
he was skinned or whether he just had the
when
inside of his head
Jeepers- in the
scooped
first
out.
Jeepers Creepers.
Because he
yeah.
was
Oh, yeah.
absolutely just had the inside of his
Yeah.
head scooped out.
Yeah.
Whereas I can't remember if it was Marcia. It was two people were saying one way and the rest of us were saying the other way. And there's a behind the scenes picture where it's his full body except his head is
Right.
hollowed out.
Yeah.
So I'm like, see, there
Well,
you go.
apparently, one thing I heard too is like that ending scene when you have the creeper come up. He's actually in that makeup.
That's Justin Long because
Yeah.
they needed his
Yeah,
eyes to match.
exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because he eats the parts he likes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
That smells good.
Yeah, actually,
Well, hey, his eyesight was going bad.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
Legs.
solid Justin Long movie. From
Trust
this
me,
If
past
I could
year,
eat
though.
When my-
eyes
yeah.
and fix these fuckers, I
When
would.
my eyes are going
Yeah.
bad, Susie's are the first I'm going for.
There you go.
You don't want
See?
this.
Solid Justin Long movie from this past year that was called The Wave, and it's kind of this strange psychedelic film where he takes a drug at a party after getting a promotion and he's super stoked on it, and then everything is distorted. It's him, Donald Faison. There's a couple other minor people in it, but really it's their plight after going to this party, and it is psychedelic as all hell, beautifully directed, great performance from him. So The Wave 2020, because there's a couple other movies called The Wave. I think there was a disaster movie from a few years ago called The Wave. But
Yeah, we got to
this one
cruise a
with
little
Justin
bit
Long,
because
man,
we're
was
running
great.
low
Sorry,
on time
sorry.
here.
His questions.
Yeah, Sam. Last category is torture porn, and then we were wondering if you have any questions for us. So, what are your thoughts on torture porn? Your Saws, your Hostels, those?
Well, I'm kind of biased because I worked for Eli Roth for about that amount of time.
Get the fuck out of here! Why hasn't that story been told yet?
It's there's not much to it because it was part of the Goretorium, the attraction that was here in Vegas for like barely a year.
Oh, that's cool though.
Oh yeah.
Because it was here for a hot minute and then it was gone. You know?
Okay.
Where was it at?
It was located down the strip near the Miracle Mile Shopping Center, like right next door to that.
Okay.
But yeah, long story short, it just didn't work out, unfortunately. But it was fun while it lasted, though.
So, your thoughts on that subgenre?
But torture porn, if it has a good, strong storyline to go along with it, I can get into it. If it's just pulling apart bodies for the sake of doing that, no thanks. Best one will probably be the French extreme thriller Frontiers. I
Oh
like
yeah,
that.
yep. That's a quality one.
And next in line from that would be High Tension,
Mhm.
but I did not like that ending.
The
at
ending's
all.
terrible, illogical, makes no sense. Beautifully directed, terrific performances.
They cheated.
But the ending
They cheated.
made me not like the
cheated.
movie.
They did. They literally
Yeah.
cheated.
And that's a twist where you can go back and, or that, as opposed to looking at it a different light and appreciating it more, that made me appreciate the film less. And yet he's gone on to do terrific stuff. I mean, he also did Crawl, right? And he
Yeah.
did Horns, and I think he also did that pair of, he did the Hills Have Eyes and Piranha, and those are schlocky fun. You know, he's very talented from the directorial standpoint. But yeah, that script, the ending was a bad decision, I contend as well.
Yeah, I got to see that at a special premiere screening that was packed. And leaving the theater, no one said a single word except for one guy who went, That sucks.
And they had
always
that
one.
Muse song "Newborn" in it and stuff. I mean, God, there was so much I liked about that movie that just. Anyway.
Okay.
So, Sam, to sort of end up this stream, do you have any questions you have burning in your pocket for us? Any of us?
Absolutely.
Even if they're all for Susie. This is your time to shine.
This is for all four of y'all.
Okay.
Every horror fan I know has a series of lists of things to watch, not to watch, so on and so on and so on. If you could pick one film
Oh, fuck.
that has never been available on any format, DVD, whatever, videotape, for them to do a special edition of and release, what would be your favorite film for people to see?
Does it have to be horror?
Yeah.
Horror-ish.
Ah, I was
See,
like
horror
Highlander.
sci-fi.
It hasn't been it's not available on like
That's hard to
Never been
Ooh, that's
available
on the-
anywhere. Except maybe like late night television a long time ago.
oh.
I mean, I know of a
actually think I
movie
have
that I had on VHS that I really liked that was a horror movie that I've never seen a DVD version of. There's obviously the constant issue I run up against where there's always one installment of long-running series that never made it to DVD and certainly never made it to Blu-ray. There's an Amityville movie. I think it's the one it's about time. The clock one. I don't think there's a DVD
Is that the one
version
where
of
they
that.
suck the guy into the drain?
I don't know. I haven't seen it
Oh,
because I don't
okay.
have
Sorry,
it except
sorry.
for the fucking VHS. So I watched it years ago. I haven't been able to watch it again. And then more recently, Robert and I ran into there is not a DVD transfer or a Blu-ray transfer of The Howling 7, New Moon Rising.
Yeah.
So we reviewed every single movie in the Howling series, but we have a big blanket number 7 because unless I go and hook up, get a TV that still fits my VHS coaxial connection and then purchase the VHS for $40 on eBay, that's the only way I'll be able to watch this movie, unless there's anyone that's watching this stream that might say, here are some websites to avoid because they have illicit activity where you can find movies like this on them. Certainly don't go to these websites to find a movie like this. If there's a circumstance like that, I won't say no to it. But yeah, for now, that's a healthy investment of time and money that I just don't want to do for what I know is a substandard entry to the series. But otherwise, the one I was alluding to is one that I had in my VHS collection was called The Ugly. Sam, did you ever see that?
God,
you remember
yes.
that? It was a serial killer being interviewed in
man.
prison.
Yeah.
And it was his recollection of events, and it was really twisted and disturbing. I have not seen a DVD or Blu-ray transfer of this movie, but it was a really effective, psychological, Hannibal Lecter-esque kind of movie. So that's mine.
How about you, Susie?
I'm racking my brain and I cannot think of one. I mean, I can say one that I think is underrated that I did own on DVD when I was in high school, and that was May.
Oh,
Oh, yeah.
I forgot
May
about
is
that movie.
see, I think it's extremely underrated and I absolutely love that
The
movie.
girl with
But
the
it was
flowers on the cover?
Yeah.
Yeah.
She
That's
did a
definitely
fucking
on
nut job,
DVD.
man.
Yeah, no, I owned it, but that's the only one I can think of that it's not really talked about.
True.
It's not, but I owned it on DVD. So I can't really think of any other ones.
Fueguissimo?
Yeah, for me, I mean, it's tough because I know it's something that's untracked downable because of the fact that I purchased it on a bootleg VHS on eBay a few years ago, and it's animated actually. And that you may think that Carlo Collodi's Pinocchio is it's Disneyfied, and even though that still disturbs some people with the turning into donkeys and all that different stuff, there is a 70s Italian animated version of it that was later dubbed and released on VHS in the States, at least at some particular point, and it adheres to the full horror of the story. Pinocchio is actually a little piece of shit in those stories. He kills Jiminy Cricket. He has just time after time where he makes mistake after mistake because Carlo Collodi actually serialized it, and so the reason each chapter ended on a cliffhanger of him being pretty much dead was because it was like, wait till next week in the papers here in the late 1800s to find out, what's going to happen to Pinocchio, if he's going to live or die. He gets hung in the forest. He's boiled as a meal for this sea monster, like green, giant kind of guy. I mean, there's bit after bit. I have it on a bootlegged VHS. It's very crude. 70s animation, obviously, but it captures the dark, disturbing essence of the source material better than any other instance that I've seen before. Yes, Pinocchio's Revenge, but that's just a stupid movie I remember watching after renting it in the 90s. It was the same time they did that Snow White, A Tale of Terror kind of thing, where they were taking all the fairy tales and making those horror versions of them. But yeah, there is a terrific version out there from the 70s animated of Pinocchio, and that's maybe my favorite fairy tale, so to speak. So yeah, there you go.
I would say I know I have it in a DVD format. It was basically just kind of like one of those cheap little print offs and everything. But I would probably say The Satanic Rites of Dracula.
Never heard of it.
That was an old 70s one.
Okay.
It was Vincent Price and Peter Cushing, I believe.
Ooh, good pairing.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, and that one I would actually like to see kind of come back and everything. Even if it I'm not expecting anything like major like bonus features and everything, just kind of updated and everything, brought back into light and whatnot, because that wasn't the one I remember watching as a kid. I was like, this is cool.
I have one that's kind of silly, but I recently got the Flight of the Navigator deep Blu-ray set that's like special edition. It costs like $50, and I'm ecstatic with it. And it's like, I really would love this. Okay, so again, it's gonna sound silly, but I would love to get a deep Blu-ray treatment, like special edition treatment of Ernest Scared Stupid.
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
Just give me some behind the scenes of the troll and stuff like that.
Like, I just want more interviews.
Like an awesome new painted cover. You know what I mean? Like, give me that.
That is a good one.
Well, hell, even if there's just like old, recycled, unreleased interviews from.
I think that's one. That's one that low key you mention, and everyone's like, "I love that movie."
That was
even
terrifying.
the deepest horror fans like love Ernest Scared Stupid.
That was scary. Like as
when
a
I was
child,
a kid, absolutely.
Yeah, that was scary.
So
you know what, Robert? I think I remember reading somewhere that they were going to try to do a special edition of Satanic Rites that either Scream Factory or Vinegar Syndrome, one of the two, is going to put out. Really? I'm going to look that up and see if I can find that link, and I'll send it to you.
Yeah, please do. Yeah. Like if anything, like add me up on Facebook or whatever like that, and yeah.
Sweet.
And as far as mine goes, if I could get a copy of this baby, I would send each one of you one, just so you could see this, because it's a one of a kind. Back in the 70s, I don't know if you were aware of this, Bing Crosby started producing movies.
What?
And not only did he not start producing movies, he started producing horror movies specifically and thrillers, because that's where the money was.
Yeah.
Here, Der Bingle was like, this super straight-laced, super Christian guy that was just like, well, I'm also a businessman, so let's put money into things that will make money back for me. So he started making horror films. The first horror film he did was the original version of Willard with Bruce Davison.
Wow.
Yeah,
Willard was a good one.
Wow.
But the one that I would send you is a movie he did specifically for television, but it was deemed so rough by the critics, by the Standards and Practice Office. They said you cannot put this on television. So he did a theatrical release, and it's called Arnold. I don't know if you've ever heard of Arnold.
That sounds
I feel like I've heard the name before.
But the cast is ridiculous. Stella Stevens, Roddy McDowell, Elsa Lanchester, Bernard Fox from Hogan's Heroes, just a bunch of like old Hollywood types. And the plot line is very simple. Stella Stevens is this stewardess chippy who like meets this older man, and you can imagine where that goes from there. They fall in love, they're going to get married, but she signs a contract to her sweetheart, her older sweetheart, that she will marry him even after he dies, which he does.
Huh.
So the opening of the movie takes place in a graveyard, and you're seeing all this atmospheric stuff. There's a crow fighting a black cat and stuff. The next thing you know, this flower girl is strewing roses around, and then you hear the title song, which is ridiculous. And it's like very upbeat, very chipper. And here comes Stella Stevens skipping along, tra-la-la-la-la, in her wedding dress, and behind her, is the coffin containing her husband.
Wow.
Huh.
And the next thing you know, they're going to the chapel. They're being married during this wild thunderstorm by this pastor played by Victor Buono. He has a special cameo in that, and then it goes from there, and it's just amazing.
That sounds like a trip. That's for sure.
I see it on Amazon.
Oh, really? As a DVD?
Amazon Prime? Or
It says...
As a VHS. What is it?
VHS tape.
It's VHS tape.
Yeah, the last time I checked, the VHS tape was the only way to get it, and the VHS tape was like $150.
Holy
Damn.
shitballs.
Okay.
Wow. Okay, so that's a great example. That absolutely. So yeah, something that you can only get via VHS that's exorbitantly expensive is the perfect candidate for. Yeah. Okay. All right. Fair enough. I feel like we should think more about that and see if we can come up with better answers next time.
According to Tony T, Satanic Rites of Dracula,
It's
is out on
$100
DVD by Anchor Bay.
Oh really? Okay.
Yeah, and Anchor Bay did some of those limited horror editions.
It's $100.
$100. Yeah. No. See, so that's probably the listing.
The more you know.
Oh, they came down. Okay, cool. I'm still not gonna buy it.
It's on Amazon for $99.95.
Yeah, Sam was right.
It's like
$100
the
for a
book by
VHS.
Wayne Smith, Thor, based from Bad Moon. It's fucking $100 for that damn soft book.
Sam, go ahead and buy it, and then play it on your TV, and just set your phone up and record the movie and send it over to us.
So you can have a crappy copy of
A crappy copy, yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I mean, it'll be crappy copy Inception.
Well, speaking of collector's editions, though, as we round things out, so Sam, I was completely unfamiliar with Phantom of the Paradise until you sent us that CD, and ironically, myself and a fellow YouTuber that I was dating at the time, if we're going to be candid about it, myself and Amanda Stone from Channel Sundown went and saw it at a screening at Phoenix Film Bar, and it was just so ironic that shortly after you had sent me the soundtrack and I'd listened to a few of the songs, it was just randomly playing, and they had this special showcase of it, so I got to see it with an audience, and I was just enamored with how much everybody knew all these songs, like, the Ode to Eddie, and, Jessica Harper is so terrific in it. She has, that sassy, sexy song, and then the other, sweet ballad at the end. I mean, there's so much to love in that film, and I've been trying to get my band to cover that kind of metal-y song where they retrofit the original singer from the performance. It's kind of like a dirgy. I'm trying to remember, but in any event, I just have to give you major credit for being the crux for introducing that film to me. And I purchased the collector's edition. I can't remember if it was Scream Factory or Arrow or whoever it was, but I have that on my shelf now, thanks to you, man. So I have to give thanks and credit where it's due. So.
Well, I'm glad you guys appreciate that. And check out a documentary called The Phantom of Winnipeg. When Fox put The Phantom of Paradise out, it was only a hit in several places. Yeah. Paris, France, I think, and Winnipeg, Manitoba, Canada.
I do remember reading about that.
Not only was it a hit, it ran for 65 weeks straight, something like that. And the local radio station played the album as if it were a major album.
Oh yeah.
They would play singles off the album by request and just as a regular thing. And the documentary is about how this craze took over Winnipeg.
Yeah, didn't they do annual conventions or something, or anniversary celebrations up there?
Yeah, they did Phantom Palooza for I think 3 years running. Dang. And they actually got Paul Williams, Jessica Harper, and the entire cast to come up, the surviving cast members.
Yeah, so we have to do a proper review because Cecil still hasn't seen it.
Yeah, no, I'm excited to at this point, though, with all the hype. But so, Sam, we actually have to be wrapping up pretty soon here because they instituted a surprise curfew for Arizona tonight
at
for
8 p.m. for the next week.
About 50 minutes from now.
And I have to drive an hour just to get here and home.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy. Man. But do you have any other questions? We can answer at least one more of your questions before we go.
I do, but I'll save all those for the next hour.
Are you sure?
Absolutely.
Okay. Well, we'll make sure that obviously you'll be a part of the next one that we'll set up for. I think maybe we'll just set it up for towards the end of the month. Cool. And we'll just start doing this as a monthly deal. And I think it'll be fun to check in with all of our patrons. So, so thank you, Sam, very much for joining us. You were a tremendous guest. Thank you. So yeah, you definitely know your way around horror, and we greatly appreciate all your depth of knowledge and everything that you've sent to us. Really,
I still have so much I want to ask.
This has been a good conversation.
I know. Well, Sam, were you here, you'd definitely be someone we would try and have on pretty regularly. So this is a good way for us to do that. So
Vegas
thank
isn't
you
far.
very much for all of your support over the years.
Oh, no problem.
Yes, thank you.
I love the channel. And to anyone out there who's watching, if you don't subscribe, let me do my best, Tony Todd. I'll see you soon.
Yes. I love it. All right, so until next time, you guys, I've been Cecil Laird.
I'm Susie Von Slaughter.
Gracias, Jaime, Fuego.
Robert Duell.
And Sam Glass.
And
Yeah.
remember, stay
Stay
scared.
scared.
Exactly. All right. Let me get a stop on this real quick. And we are... I gotta pull that up.